Our podcast is brought to you by Northern Bee Books, stockist of the largest range of new and second-hand bee books.
Specialist publishers including the Beekeepers Quarterly and Natural Bee Husbandry magazine.
Check them out at northernbeebooks.co.uk.
Welcome to the Kiwimana Bay. Hi there. This is episode 155 of our beekeeping show. Is honey good for kids? Of course it is.
We are Gary.
And Margaret.
We are Kiwimana, and Kiwimana are beekeepers from the hills of the Waitaki Ranges on the wild west coast of Auckland in the North Island of New Zealand.
Yes, we build and sell beekeeping equipment and bees, provide beekeeper services and education.
In this episode we ask, is there any health benefits for children eating honey? And it's not all about honey in Wales, is it?
Indeed. So we also have roving reporters checking in from the United States and New Zealand.
Yes, and the show notes for this podcast are kiwi.pz/155. And what's happening with our bees?
Oh, Gary, glad you asked, but before we do that, we'd like to take a moment to thank our roving reporters from all over the world who have been absolutely awesome. They've taken time to share their beekeeping updates with us. We just want to name you. So Avery from North Carolina, Joe from Northamptonshire, Chris from Hampshire, Veronica from Poland, John and Jenny from Indiana, USA, Gutney from Central Auckland, Yolanda from Ontario, Canada, Ron Miksha from Calgary, Ben from Ben's Bees in Melbourne, Chris Brown and family Laura, Jasper and Fur family Maggie from South Yorkshire, Calvin from Dunblane, Linda from Uxbridge, Ontario, also Bancroft, Ontario, Walter from New York, Long Island and Suffolk, Finn from Oxford and Nicole from Colorado.
And to the many people who have emailed us with updates of their beekeeping adventures. There's too many to mention, Margaret?
Yeah, that's it.
But no, we have appreciated hearing each and every one of your adventures.
That's the truth of it, because, without you, we'd be bored.
That's right.
Yeah, all these things you question us keep us on our toes, and we also learn things as well, so it's awesome. Yeah, so far this bee season 2019 has been challenging for me, but my goal is to treat less, and that will be ongoing. And I've finished all the splits, and now I'm shifting into nectar management, which is a pretty big job at the moment because the flow is on. And we talk about that in our newsletter, which is free if you want to subscribe. Anyway, along with the nectar management and my desire to be treating less, I know that monitoring Varroa and responding to the threat level of 6 mites or more is still my top job.
Yeah, it would be great if we didn't have to treat, but not really possible at this stage, is it?
No, not really.
And you said the nectar flow started ramping up, so how's that going?
The current nectar flow has been so exciting, and the other goal is that this year, because we haven't done it in the past, we've only taken a bit of honey off, is that we are taking some honey for ourselves. So, wow, we're looking forward to that. And there's lots to be collected, but still waiting for capping, so trying not to add too much space in the hope the girls will cap more and just focus on that. I think by adding too much space, it may distract the girls from capping. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, you don't want to put a whole lot of boxes on top, and then you get that tunnelling effect, don't you?
Yeah, and then it's a pain to manage, that's for sure. And that's a good point, Gary. So excellent. So monitoring the nectar and brood cells is required this time of the year because you want to keep your population up. And as soon as the girls put nectar in brood cells, it means that the queen will run out of space to lay. We don't want that to happen. So I do this by adding frames to the brood boxes on each side of the brood. Bearing in mind we run 2 brood boxes, and then adding frames is the key, and we do that on level 1 and 2.
What hives do you run, and what sort of frames are you using?
Okay. General is the wooden Langstroth hive boxes. full depth, which are oiled externally with 3 coats of boiled linseed oil. The frames are 33mm wide, Hoffman style. They are wooden, and we add wax foundation sheets embedded into wires, and we have 10 frames in each box.
Yes, I've been wiring a lot of frames lately.
That's right, it's all part of the new jobby, eh? You've been enjoying it?
I have.
Oh, that's fantastic. And we've got more to do, haven't we?
We do.
We're racing out of the recording studio into the workshop.
That's right.
Okay, well, we also run all hives with the robbing screen. The Langstroth hives have a hive mat with a slot which I use to manage space and condense the brood down over winter. And the slot allows them to go up and feed on honey. Some of the new season queens are sitting on solid bottom bases, and others are on our Kiwimana mesh baseboard with an inspection tray. And the beauty of an inspection tray, it can be inserted and removed anytime, and handy to use year-round for us to monitor our mite levels, which we have to do because we have year-round foraging here where we are. So then we have some with A-frame roofs, and the idea of them is that they sit wider than the boxes so the water doesn't run down and go into any gaps. The rest of the Langstroth have a flat closed corner hive roof, and underneath that a hive mat or inner cover. And we also have all our hives on hive stands, 30 centimetres up off the ground. So the lifestylers, which are our long bench hives, they sit at bench hives and they have A-frame roofs, and they have five frame width hive mats. So there's 6 of those in there as well. So there now, one colony we run in 7 frame hive boxes. And yeah, that's the makeup of the apiary.
And are you trying to get away from the 7 frame hive boxes?
Yeah, this season I decided I'm going to place that colony into a lifestyler, which is our long bench hive, and that takes about 36 frames.
What's been the problems with the 7 frame hive box?
I just have to manage it so often because it's quite small, and if you don't manage it regularly, then they can become too big because they actually run really well. And over winter they're good, but in summer at the moment, because of the way the season is, we need to keep an eye on population. And it's going bananas.
It certainly is. God, it was hot yesterday, eh?
Oh, it was roasting. I had to stop in the hive and come inside and
then go and get fish and chips.
Yeah, that's right. We put that on our Facebook page. So, yeah, that was awesome.
So all in all, having the right equipment is really helpful then.
Yes, because our mission is to save bees, Gary, one hive at a time, by helping you as well to keep your honeybees alive.
That's right, and this is the first month of summer, officially.
Yes, it's coming to an end and Christmas is around the corner. We've heard the jingle bells and, yeah, we noticed some festivities on the landing boards out in the apiary. But that just could be the heat.
Yeah, because a lot of the bees don't really celebrate Christmas, do they?
Not that I'm aware of, but it's nice to see them outside, even if it is a bit hot. The rising temperatures here in New Zealand are most welcome, really, most welcome. But what's happening around the world, Gary?
Well, let's hear from our roving reporters. This week we hear from Long Island, Colorado and Oxford. First up, let's hear from Walter in Long Island. Yeah, and Walter's been keeping bees in the West Hills of New York for over 3 years, and Walter and his wife sell their honey at the local fairs and markets. Walter is also studying to become a master beekeeper, so I hope it goes well, Walter.
Yeah, very exciting.
And Merry Christmas, Walter.
Hello, Margaret and Gary. This is Walter Scott with Scott's Apiary and Farm on Long Island, New York. Today is December 5th, 2019, and we have a chilly 37 degrees Fahrenheit temperature at the current hour. We have just recouped from a winter snowstorm here in the Northeast region, but prior to that snowstorm, What we've done with our colonies in preparation of winter is we've ensured that each of them have proper ventilation. We've checked the hive weight and closed off the screen bottom boards. Each of the colonies have been wrapped with bee cozies or tar paper. We've checked the stores to ensure that the bees will have sufficient feed to get them through the winter. We've secured our mouse guards and cleared the entrances. We've also cleaned up the bee yard in preparation for spring of 2020. But going forward, if we get the weather to cooperate with us, we will check for mites one more time and treat with oxalic acid. But that's all based on the temperature and the weather conditions in the Northeast region here. At this time of the year, what we do is ensure that we repair and replace any equipment that needs tending to. So until our next report, have a great holiday and Happy New Year.
Wonderful, and I love that he's preparing for the next season as he's finishing this season, and that's a great recommendation for all of us, hey?
Absolutely, and also, I've had snow already. Ooh.
Yeah, it sounds pretty chilly.
Okay, now we're going to move...
To where, Gary?
Yeah, we're going to move to Nicole in Colorado, and Nicole runs a small hobby farm in Pueblo West, Colorado, with her husband Patrick, and she loves animals, the outdoors, and orchids. And also check out her blog and podcast at heritageacresmarket.com. Let's see what Nicole's doing.
Awesome.
Hi everyone, it's Nicole coming to you from Pueblo West, Colorado. Right now we're in the depths of winter. We just finished up our winter preparations, so that includes putting in our pine shavings into our moisture quilts, putting on our mouse guards, and making sure that everybody has enough food. And if they don't have enough food, then doing some supplemental feeding with either dry sugar or with patties. Also, right now it's just kind of the waiting game. Not a whole lot to do otherwise with this weather. It's, pretty cold out, so we can't be opening up the hives at all. So really, I like to use this time of year to go through and inventory my equipment, see what maybe needs replaced, make my wish list of things that I'd like some more of, and then also working on increasing my knowledge, reading books, attending classes, watching YouTube videos, going online. And then one way that I also like to increase my knowledge is by writing blog posts for both my website, heritageacresmarket.com, and for keepingbackyardbees.com. I've found that when I'm writing an article and I have to do some research and look things up, that's a really good way for me to learn. So maybe if you have a beekeeping club in your area, volunteer to do a lesson or some sort of teaching event, and that will really encourage you to become more familiar with the topic and learn more about it, and that's a great way to learn. So from now until the warmer months, again, it's really just inventory and learning, talking to other beekeepers, doing anything that I can to expand my own knowledge of beekeeping. And if you'd like to check out our website, I invite you to join us at heritageacresmarket.com or check out our podcast, Backyard Bounty, where we also have some beekeeping guests and topics there. So until next time, thank you for listening to me as a roving reporter, and I'll see you next time.
Yes, thanks, Nicole. Awesome.
Yes, I think it's interesting because also, the common thread that we're finding with a lot of the countries that have very, very cold weather and snow is everyone gets the mouth guards.
Mouse guards?
The mouse guards. I wonder if it's because they keep their hives right on the ground as well. So it's easier for the mice to get in.
I've seen mice run up walls, so...
I know.
I don't think that'd be a problem.
But I guess once it's on the ground...
Yeah, it's easier, isn't it?
It's easier, but yeah, it's interesting. And I love the idea of going out and going to bee clubs and talking and reading and all that. And I think the other thing I would say that would probably be going on, but they may not be talking about it, is a lot of hot chocolate, eggnog, preparing for Santa to arrive.
Exactly, and they're using moisture quartz, because we tried that one year, and I think it does work.
I don't think that what happens when bees cluster is that they generate quite a bit of heat, and if there's any moisture around, it forms that condensation. So the quilt level is a great idea for countries like that which have quite a significant chill factor. So I think that for us it didn't really benefit the bees. So I'm not sure. Maybe this time of the year, while it's so hot, a quilt level would be a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. And Nicole, if you're looking to buy stuff, we've got a beekeeping shop.
That's it. But it's a long way to send it over, I guess.
It is.
Yeah, all the best with the bees to you and Walter. And we have one more, Gary.
Yes, a new reporter. This is Finn from Oxford in New Zealand, and Finn's been following us for quite a while now. So he's finally got the bravery to record a roving report.
So we need to give him a courage award. So thanks, Finn. And what's Finn got to say?
Hi, Gary. Hi, Margaret. It's good to finally talk to you guys. This is probably the 12th time I've tried to, I don't know, I just don't like the sound of my voice. So what's happening in my world? Well, today the weather has been quite nice, so I decided, hey, let's go look at the girls. And I did, took my time. And, you know, with every time I look at my hives, I always do it. Basically just check all the brood anyway, see how they're going. And I found AFB was present in one of my hives, so I'm very gutted by that. But onwards and upwards, at least I found it and I've destroyed it, so that's some positive from this experience. Yeah, I'm very happy that most of my hives are doing well, so you can't be Mr. Negative. That's not good. Otherwise, you just go bananas. So I hope you guys have a really lovely Christmas and Happy New Year. I don't know if this is your last show for the year, but if it is, then, well, I've really enjoyed listening to you guys, and I hope to listen to you guys next year. Cheers. Thanks.
That's awesome. Thanks, Finn. I'm sorry to hear about the AFB issues. That's terrible, isn't it? But at least, as you said, you found it, and you can't be Mr. Negative.
That's right. You're Mr. Courage. So brave souls conquer the earth. And it is difficult to share if you lose a hive, I think. And the whole process with dealing with it here in New Zealand is that the hive must be, the bees killed and the hive put into a hole and burnt and buried. So that's the rule. The other thing is if you discover AFB, you need to clean your footwear. You need to clean all your tools. You can use it with bleach and a bit of detergent and wash all your suits and gloves. If you can afford to, destroy your gloves, and especially if you've got more than one hive. So very heartbreaking to hear that, Finn, and, thanks for, updating us, because this is a reality that we deal with here in New Zealand. Yeah, the South Island, from what we've seen, has got a lot of AFB going on there. Yeah, commiserations, but also thank you for taking time to share that with us. That's awesome.
Yes, thanks, Finn. That's awesome. And we hope to get another report in January. And as you said, this is our last show for 2019, so we will be returning in 2020.
And there I'll have 2020 vision on what we're going to talk about then, Gary.
That's right.
Did you like that? Was that Chew Bro?
No more Chew Bros.
Chew Bro, I like Chew Bro.
Do you want to be part of the show and become a roving reporter?
Are you keen to record a monthly update of what is happening with your bees to help other beekeepers in your area?
Find out more information on how to sign up at kiwi.bz/rove. That's ROVE. Have you tried out HiveTracks? Are you looking at a way to track your beekeeping operation? HiveTracks tracks your inspections, yard locations and equipment, and you can access your information from any web-enabled device. HiveTracks is designed to help beekeepers know their bees. And get a free month, Margaret, at kiwi.bz/HiveTracks.
What a great idea. And, this is all part of record keeping, and it's absolutely fascinating to go back and check these things and see where things changed. And we always talk about beginners, take notes, record what you find, do the photos, the whole thing, and HiveTracks will help you do that.
Absolutely. It's always good to see what you did before that was successful and what you did before that caused the hive to die, eh? Or maybe. So it's good to know.
Yes, indeed.
Beekeeping news. News you can use. Okay, first story. 5 honey health benefits for children over 2. This is a great article from keepingbackyardbees.com. That was mentioned by Nicole before, wasn't it?
That's right.
2 years before feeding honey to children. Thereafter, this article talks of 5 honey benefits for children over 2. Because under 2, it's not a good idea, is it?
Yes, the article does state that you have to be over 2.
It's like a ride at Disneyland, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just took the quotes from the article and put a bit of a spin on it that I listed the 1 to 5s. Shall I start?
Yeah, what's number 1, Margaret?
Okay, it protects their energy as honey is digested more slowly.
Oh, that's better than sugar, isn't it?
That's right. And number 2, it protects their liver. Honey has antitoxin properties so that it removes bad stuff from the system. That's it. Number 3, it's easy to digest. So it's considered an organic product, so the body can deal with it and cope with it, and it's not harmful like processed foods.
Wouldn't it depend on what they treat their bees with?
I think you're right. That did come across my thoughts because I think what they're saying, the principle is, or the premise is that honey is a natural product. But if the beekeeper is not organic and they use synthetics, that could be an area of concern. So you really have to be sure of where you're getting your honey to know if it's organic or have they used some sort of synthetic treatment.
That's true. What's number 4?
Number 4, it heals coughs. So 1 teaspoon of honey can be added to warm water and taken once a day until the cough is gone, and it works just as well as the anti-suppressants that they talked about, cough suppressants.
I think it does help sore throats as well, eh?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's true. I always put a little dash of lemon in as well.
Yes, indeed. I always put a little dash of gin in as well.
Yeah, all right.
It's a different story.
All right. That's definitely for over 21.
Not over 2. Okay, what's number 5?
Number 5, it has vitamins and minerals, and honey has these too. So it's great for a child's growth, including the development of their GI system and their heart.
That's fantastic.
Absolutely, and I was thinking about what you were saying about organic, and the other premise is that if people are using synthetic chemicals, they should remove the honey supers off the hive so that the honey doesn't get impacted by the synthetic. Interesting stuff, Gary, but one of the benefits they didn't explain is that keeping bees is also a great family pastime.
Yeah, that's right.
And as I've watched the bees around children, they seem to react differently to children. And children, when presented or part of beekeeping, turn out to be great beekeepers and great people.
Yes, they don't have any natural fear of bees, do they, unless it's instilled by their parents.
Yes, often a parent can say things that cause the child to be panicky around bees, but the children don't really know that it's a problem until they see that behaviour by their parents. So I just say to folks that when you're dealing with bees, being calm and not waving your arms around and yelling and that kind of thing is the best way to deal with if you've got bees around, because we're getting a lot of swarm calls at the moment, so we have to try and educate people on how to behave around the bees and not to panic.
Yes, and not attack them with a flamethrower.
That's right, yeah. God blimey, that was a terrible call, wasn't it?
Mm.
Tell us about that call, Gary, just out of interest.
A member of the public rang and said, how can we get rid of these bees? We've already attacked them with a flamethrower or a blowtorch, but they're still moving. Yeah, for Cliff's sake.
And they were angry, weren't they?
The bees were angry, yes.
Who'd have thought, eh?
Sad to hear that.
Absolutely, and we have to keep educating people. We have to move the emotion aside and explain to the people what they could have done instead of doing that. And yeah, that's all part of this process of what we do, trying to help and educate people. And, if children become beekeepers, they learn a connection to the natural world as well. And I think that's another health benefit.
Talking points. Insulin levels always rise when humans eat. It's true. It's part of the body's process by preparing for digesting food. It's so confusing, but maybe if it's slow release, the honey's slow release into the bloodstream, it might be better. I don't know.
I agree. I think it would be better. They're talking about the spike thing that happens, and the thing is that it'll get their body prepared and used to and desensitized to the natural world. But we're always talking about, this is going to cause, diabetes, and this is going to cause that. They haven't proven that having honey will cause diabetes. And the sugar thing can often be, from the research that I've seen, is that children can respond to social events and they can actually get more hyperactive because they're just really excited to be with their friends and everything. So the sugar myth with that is interesting. But I get confused when they start saying those things and how do they actually explain it. But it's in the article, and the article also says have some fun with honey.
Yeah, so kids love extracting honey, don't they?
Yeah, and it's just fun, and just that whole process, sticky, messy, fun.
Yeah, even for adults.
Yeah, and giving jars to their friends and the family is just, you should see their faces. They get so excited when you watch them, and it's a very, it just makes good people, I reckon.
And spread on toast and muffins. Probably a lot better with lots of fresh butter.
Yeah, that's my take on it.
And we got some feedback from Raymond O'Brien. What does Raymond say?
Oh, Ray says, I couldn't agree more.
Okay, next story. Bees. It's not all about the honey for Wales' 180 varieties.
Did you know, Gary, there are over 180 varieties of bees in Wales, but not all are the same?
I did know that because I've read this article, but go on.
Oh, okay. Well, this very interesting article talks about the many different bees in Wales, stating Apis mellifera, or the honeybee, are not the only ones in Wales.
Wow. And this article is from the BBC in Wales, and quoting from the article, they are just one of 180 species found in Wales. The rest are wild bees, a mix of solitary, wild bees and bumblebees. Love the old bumbles. With more than half finding sanctuary in former colliery sites, according to experts.
7 species have already been wiped out in Wales, according to BugLife Sirmu. And 5 more are on the brink of extinction. The great yellow bumblebee was last recorded in 1974, the short-haired bumblebee in 1956, and the armed nomad bee in 1854.
That sounds dangerous. Armed nomad bee. Does it carry a gun or something?
I'm not sure. I don't know what that one is, so that's been interesting to me. What else does the article say?
It says bees feed on pollen and nectar from flowers, meaning the changing landscape affects where they thrive. Absolutely.
I deduct from that comment that they are not thriving if species are becoming extinct. Not surprisingly, because if they lose their habitat, they are going to fail, aren't they?
Absolutely.
But the article goes on to state what, Gary?
The UK has lost 97% of its wildflower meadows since the 1930s, so coastal grasslands, dunes and even man-made brownfield sites are becoming important hotspots.
Absolutely, and when they talk about the colliery, it's like old... what is a colliery?
Colliery is an old mine.
An old mine. Yeah, and like quarries and that kind of things, eh?
Yep.
Some of the talking points, Gary?
So many varieties, which means lots of pollinating opportunities for plants and trees. So get out there and plant some trees, guys.
Yeah, and I think that it's saying that because there's so many varieties of bees, that will give you great pollination opportunities, won't it? Who'd have thought there are so many bees in Wales? And thinking about it, I got a boggled mind, Gary.
A boggled mind. Is it like a Googled mind or just a boggled mind?
Just boggled. Contribution to the loss of these bees is the habitat we talked about and the changes in agricultural practices, which is contributing to those losses. But on the flip side, they say they are seeing new species coming into UK, giving the tree bumblebee and ivy bee as examples.
Yeah, because didn't they say that's because of the increasing temperatures in England, they're getting different kinds of bees coming in?
Yeah, I think that happens here too. You know, like we've seen the paper wasp really becoming quite prolific, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And don't be too tidy in your garden. Let weeds grow is what we took from this article, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, don't worry a bit if there's some dandelions because bees love dandelions. I mean, you know.
Anyone that's visited Kiwimana HQ will know that we follow this practice religiously.
That's it, absolutely. So we already mentioned about the old coal sites or quarries, and those are left to revegetate to becoming a haven for wildlife.
Great idea, because when we were in Wales, we actually stayed on an old colliery site, didn't we? Remember that freezing camping site?
Oh my goody aunt, that was in South Wales. That was freezing, man, but yes, that was before we got into beekeeping in a big way.
That's when we were world travellers.
That's it, doing our geocaching. Oh, those were the days. We met so many awesome people in England and Singapore and
even Wales.
Yeah, Wales, over in Belgium. It was just amazing. Tangent, going back.
And side note, dandelions are an extremely popular plant for the honeybee. Absolutely. They're covered in them, aren't they, at the moment?
They love dandelions, and we were doing some YouTube stuff, and we found that there was a place that had fields of dandelions, and they're using it obviously for something, but wow, it looked fantastic and it was covered in bees. So awesome, but I can't remember what that was, otherwise I would share it. But yeah, dandelions are just dandy.
And you had a look at the Bug Life website?
Yes, it's got some great articles about all sorts of bugs, but they also had an article on something which sparked my interest about pollinators in peril due to climate change.
Oh, we'll include that link in the show notes.
Yeah, and whether you believe in climate change or not, there's definitely something changing in the natural world. There's also a link to their website, and yeah, if you can support them, that would be awesome. I think their work looks absolutely fabulous, and definitely check it out, guys.
Who helped us in bringing this show to you?
Thanks for listening to our show, and thanks to all our supporters who support us through the Patreon service. This week we would like to thank
Nathan Buzzinger Beekeeping from Buzzinger Beekeeping
in Australia, Christopher Brown from Brick Mama in Sheffield,
Lisa Morrissey,
Greg Parr from Parr's Products, parrs.co.nz,
and Trish Stretton, who's currently studying mycelium. Check out Hyper INZ. Link in the show notes.
Cool bananas, let's go! Do the rumba.
I'm going to just have a party one day and just play that all night long.
It is fantastic. I must say it does bring joy.
And shout out to a new supporter. Thanks to Jim this month for becoming a supporter. And I actually saw Jim walking down the street one day, and I twisted his arm to start supporting us. And he started to that night. I must do this more. Side note, I do know Jim. It was funny. Outside my old job,
Okay.
I charanged him.
Okay, well, be like Jim and support the Kiwimana Buzz. Don't be like Gary and don't twist arms to cause injury or impairment. Anyway, it helps towards the cost of running this show and our free newsletter, producing blogs and all that work we do.
If you love what we do and find it useful, you can support us too. Visit kiwi.bz/banana. So you don't think I should twist people's arms in?
No, I think No, I don't.
Okay, I won't do that. Don't worry. If you see me in the street, don't worry. I won't twist your arm.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Gary, I just want to say to folks from New Zealand who may be listening, manage your space, manage that nectar flow, and really work hard on that so that you can make the most of this very wonderful season. And the other thing is, don't forget to monitor mites regularly if you're an organic beekeeper.
Absolutely. And the show notes for this podcast are kiwi.bz/155. And Margaret, we're still doing the summer survey. We've only had one response so far. So come on out there.
The awesome thing about the response we did get was very positive. So, don't go changing, Gary.
No, that was a great response, but we'd like a few more. It'd be great. It's kiwi.bz/survey. Okay, I just want to say it's Christmas soon, so thanks to you for listening to the show this year. We both hope you have managed to have a break over the holiday period and get a chance to be with your loved ones. And we'll see you next year, won't we, Margaret?
We hope you have a great festive season. And yes, even for those who don't treat organically, you still need to monitor for mites.
Yes, and if you're going away for summer, make sure the girls have got a lot of spare space to put honey. Anticipate.
Oh, yes, and if you've got grumpy bees, they're probably thirsty, so have a fine mist water sprayer with water in it, and you can spray it above the hives, and it just gives them a distraction, and also you can spray it on the front of your hive, so just to help them keep cool. So stay cool.
And that works for grumpy beekeepers too.
That's right. It actually does, especially with the heat the way it is. Just spray it through your veil. It's awesome.
Yep. Okay, thanks for listening. We appreciate you joining us this week.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Merry Christmas.
I better go and build some frames.
Get out there, will ya? And I detect...
Detect?
Detect?